Hey, Damashe, something we haven't done in a while?
What's that?
Talk numbers.
Oh yeah, we should talk numbers.
Yeah. So, first of all, and I pause for a second because we can leave this in or not. How much do you think we've brought in over the lifetime of the show for tip jars?
Let's see. I don't have a good number. I'm gonna say we're probably well shy of $1,000 though.
672.
Okay, yeah. I would have put us maybe around 5 if you would have made me pick a number.
Yeah. So not bad. All right.
Shout out to the tip jar people. We appreciate it.
Yeah. We have 5 or 6 that are regularly paying. It keeps fluctuating. So it's looking back. So I'm getting ready to send you some more money here shortly. But real numbers, that is a real number too, but let's talk download numbers is what I meant to say. Episode 159, as of recording, and today is Saturday the 25th, we've had 137 listens. Total listens over the last 7 days is 196 listens, and total listens across the entire podcast is 33,505 listens. So it's about, I feel
so we're
like,
down a bit. We're down a bit on these last couple of episodes, I feel like.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I feel like it's a little lower than what we were at one point. And there was one week where I think AI was just scraping all of our content because there was like 1,500 downloads in 1 week, and I'm like, yeah, that's not normal. So
yeah, that definitely couldn't have been a real number.
But we keep chugging along, and again, for listeners who have been part of this show since the beginning, what I'm about to say is old news to you. For new listeners, which even though the numbers are down, I still expect we're getting some new listeners. We've done zero marketing. Like, the extent of our marketing is Michael using AI to post on Mastodon and Damashe sharing on Mastodon, and that's it. Like, I don't think we've really done much outreach. Word of mouth has helped us quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, that's all we have. Like that is the only show growth. So for the growth that we have seen over that time, especially for the people who were here from the beginning, you more than anything are the reason that we have the number of listeners and consistent downloads. And we're down a bit, like I said, but our average tends to be around, I would say, we're probably holding steady, I would say, at 150 on an average download. Some weeks we get, more. Some weeks, like this past episode, we're down a bit. But, it is what it is.
It is. And it's one of those, we just keep chugging along at it. And there's some interesting things kind of related to marketing that might come into play in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. We'll definitely share more information. 158, I just went to look, that's called Push to Talk, has had 157 listens, and that was published 14 days ago. So yeah, I think if we average it out, it's about 150 right now, which in the grand scheme of things is actually higher than what we were at one point, but it is slightly, I'd say that we're just gradually increasing the average.
Yeah, the average episode downloads go up. They've continuously gone up. We haven't hit like this huge spurt of growth, but it has been consistently growing. So that's a good thing. We have not been marketing, like Mike said, and there was something else I was going to say, and I completely forgot.
Well, will you try to remember? Shout out to Doyes and Taylor for making a comment to me. And I'm going to do it, but we're not going to be too persistent. But if you want to help and you're like, well, I've told all my friends and I don't have any more other friends, we understand. Go into your podcast app, go into Apple Podcasts or Google Play and give us a rating that
would be YouTube. There's no podcast app on Android.
There isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, there's Pocket Cast.
I mean, there's Pocket Cast. Yeah, if you're using Pocket Cast, and I need to do this, but if you're in Pocket Cast, you can rate the show from within Pocket Cast. You can do whatever YouTube people do in YouTube, and I say that only because I really don't know. like what you do with a podcast and YouTube, because I have neglected to look at my own show in YouTube, which is something I will fix at some point the next time I'm in YouTube.
But go give it a rating that you feel it deserves. I don't want to tell you to give it a 5-star rating personally, because maybe you don't think it deserves a 5-star rating. Hopefully it does, but I want you to be honest, and reviews help people with finding the show as well.
Absolutely.
So
Mike, you have a job. You have a task.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me open drafts. All right. I got drafts up.
The fate of a critical decision is going to be on your shoulders.
Okay.
You recently got AirPods Pro 3.
Yes.
I am not going to buy any right now, but you will decide whether or not I actually buy any or not at all. So what are your thoughts after having them for, maybe 4 days?
Yeah, because I got them as an early birthday present.
Mike just had a birthday yesterday, by the way, too, people. So everybody on Mastodon, at least, mention that payout, tell them a happy belated birthday.
Yeah. Let's see if y'all can do that. So I got them. I like them. And I know that's not a very good selling point. So I called Damashe when I got him and I said, absolutely, yes, you should buy these. These are amazing because you can adjust the volume from your AirPods. And he's like, you've been able to do that for a while. So if this tells you how old my AirPods are, I put mine in trying to do it, and I cannot do that on my old AirPods. So I must have had, first gen AirPod Pros? Is that right?
I could have been.
Because unless the early version of the second gen AirPod Pros did not allow you to do that. But I cannot adjust the volume from my Lightning AirPods Pros. So for me, that was well worth it, because honestly, one of my complaints is if I'm doing dishes and I want to turn up audio, two things. One, I wanted to be able to do that from my AirPod Pros, but now also I don't have to do that because it has the adaptive listening feature, which if it detects that there's loud noises, I've noticed that it starts to get louder as well. And if you talk, it will fade out the audio. And Damashe's comment has stuck with me. He wants to know, how long are you going to keep that enabled? Because apparently it doesn't always stay enabled for some people. I might turn it off pretty soon. Although, I don't know if you notice this, but if you notice the audio starting to fade out, I think I can hit the play pause button on the stem and it just resumes playing at the regular volume, I think is what I have discovered. But,
that could be a thing. And it's a useful feature.
It is.
It is a very useful feature. It's one of those features where it's kind of like they need to work the kinks out. Like, it should be able to detect the difference in voices or whatever. So I don't know. Like, it's a hard problem to solve. But my main issue is, like, if you're just listening to a show, like you're listening to our show like right now, and we could be saying a thing, and you might be sitting there yelling right now, like, no, the AirPods did do this, but there was a setting that you had to change in order for you to be able to adjust the volume. Like, you could be saying that out loud right now, and it would duck the audio of the show because it would assume you're talking to a person. So there's that. But, again, how would it know? Maybe if they put cameras in the AirPods, it can see if there's a person there and know that's where the cameras come in at. All right, just solve it.
Yeah. See, it's too aggressive too. Like, I feel like there are times where it's like, where did my audio go? Like, I was listening to that.
Yeah, like it can be super aggressive.
Yeah.
So
let me adjust that.
What I found is the transparency mode on the 2s, and I hear it's even better on the 3s, but the transparency mode on the 2s often is enough for me to hear somebody saying something to me. And if I have to engage in a longer conversation, I'm just going to pause the audio anyway.
Yep. I do like being able to shake my head or nod my head. That's pretty cool. Again, not something I was able to do with my previous AirPods. Can you do that with yours?
Yeah, I'm thinking you had to have Gen 1 AirPods.
I had to have, because, but the fit, I think I am using what Apple says is the correct size tips for my ears, and it's when you're holding the tip case in front of you, it's the second one in is the ones that I'm using. And that's great. But I feel like they're always trying to slide out of my ears. And so I'm probably going to order some Comply tips and see if that's a better experience for me because, they're comfortable. They're lightweight. I really like wearing them. I'll wear them all day long. But I think that is my one gotcha with this particular earbud. So we'll see.
Usually what I do with the Comply tips, I'll say what I usually plan to do with the Comply tips when I have bought them is I will buy the variety where you get the three, I think it's 3 different sizes. So that way I can figure out which one fits. And my plan is always, okay, now I'll go buy just a set of that size. So I have some extras.
Yeah.
And I don't ever quite get around to doing it because usually what happens is I just keep using those until they need to be changed out. And then, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't remember what size it is because I don't know what I did with the packaging or I gave somebody else the ones that didn't fit. And so now I'm buying another 3-pack with the small, medium, and large. But they are super comfortable. I tend to put those on I think every pair of AirPods I've had. I bought them for the Beats. Bought them for a lot of in-ear headphones. I do like the Comply foam tips.
The Comply foam tips is what.
And make sure you get the ones for the 3s because that connector is different, is what I've heard from the 2s. The ones to the 2s, you could use the same ones. It didn't matter, but I hear the attachment point is different on the 3s. So you got to make sure you get the ones for the AirPods Pro 3. So Mike is... Yeah, so your experience probably I'm more likely going to buy some at some point when it's time for me to actually replace the ones the AirPod Pro 2s that I'm using now. But I'm also going to have to wear these until they really start to show their age because I bought a pair mid-cycle because I dropped one of my original ones in the toilet and I wasn't using that after that. So I bought a whole nother set. And also that got me the USB-C case, I think. That got me the USB-C case also. So mine are not nearly as old as yours were. So I got a little while probably. Probably won't make it to the 4s because it'll probably be a while before Apple releases those. But speaking of Apple, so... Apple's had their 50th anniversary. I don't think we even mentioned it, or we may have passingly mentioned it on the show. But recently, this week as we're recording Monday afternoon, Tim Cook announced when he will be stepping down as CEO and who the new CEO of Apple is going to be, which is John Ternus, which is interesting news, interesting timing. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that or any expectations based off of that announcement.
I really don't. I'm just not surprised. I am interested to see where Apple goes. I am not a financial expert and I do not want to be telling people what to do, but I purchased an Apple share, just one single little Apple share. And I'm hoping that goes up with this new CEO. I mean, obviously everyone who purchases shares hope they go up, but I don't know. I kind of hope Apple will become exciting again. The Neo is kind of part that excitingness because it's putting Macs in more people's hands. But I feel like, this is just my opinion, I don't put words in other people's mouths, but I feel like Apple has gotten a little stagnant over the last, probably since they had the success of the silicone processors. And that's just me. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there that is not tapped into, and it's my hope that they'll be more creative. That's what I'm looking for in the future.
Yeah, I think one criticism, I'm not necessarily sure you would call it a criticism. It for me, I wouldn't say it's a criticism. I think one observation, it's a better word, one observation to me of Tim Cook and his time at Apple is he's not the he's an operations guy, and I say that not in a derogatory manner, but like his expertise, his skill set, and I honestly feel like probably his passion in a lot of ways is optimizing operations. Right? Steve Jobs was a little more whimsical in ways where he would kill a product to bring out a new product, and that's one thing that Apple has not done under Tim Cook. Is like, yep, we know, like Steve did this with one of the iPods. I don't remember which one it was. Like it was their best selling iPod. It was like it really had blown up. They had iTunes on Windows. That was the major iPod. Everybody wanted that iPod. And like next year, that following year, Steve was like, yeah, we're done with that one. We're doing this one now. Mm. Like, why would you cut off a thing that's making that much money? And I think some of the complacency of Apple has been due to several factors, but one is like, we have a product that sells big, but also think maybe they've been optimizing a little too much for the stock market in past years. And I say that from the perspective of like, look at what Apple does with services. Like there are some decisions that have been made at Apple over the past, I would say 6 or 7 years that like I really don't like. And like I don't like them from a customer perspective. And I feel like they're financially motivated when we look at Apple, and one of the reasons that Apple has always been a different company in a lot of ways to people is because obviously they want to make money. Like that is a thing, but at the same time they've generally been user motivated, right? The user experience was, the most important thing. I mean, I still feel like, I don't know who said this, but I still feel like it rings true to a certain extent that Apple's priorities always have been Apple, the users, and then the developers. Obviously, Apple has to take care of Apple, or there's no Apple to serve users. So that kind of makes sense. Users come next because we're the ones buying this stuff. But then at the same time, like if you think about some of the nicer, just little features of Apple products, the care in which they have done a lot of things over the years, that doesn't match with the company that is advertising features to you in the settings app. Like those two things don't align to me. That seems more like of a Microsoft thing, actually, than an Apple thing, right? Like you really shouldn't be doing this. So, and those are things that are motivated by them trying to grow services, like services being the next business, because I think there's a concern of what happens when the iPhone is, when we've saturated the market for iPhone. Now, the one hand, again, like Mike said, I'm not a financial expert either, but I look at the sales of iPhones and I think like you're kind of doing okay because people are going to update their phones eventually. Right. They're going to update their phones every few years. And I think if you take the iPad as an example, iPad sales are steady. Like a lot of businesses, a lot of companies would be happy to do what the iPad does on an average year. But every so often there's a big bump in iPad sales in a quarter. And it's because you built the iPad so well that people don't feel like they got to replace them every year. But there are people out here still using, for example, the original iPad Pro. I think that came out in 2015. Like they're still using that iPad. And some of the people I know that have these, like, it's not that they can't go afford to buy the latest and greatest iPad. They're like, yeah, but what I use it for, like, it still does the thing. So I don't think that's a bigger issue, such an issue. I feel like there's been too much of a focus on pushing the services revenue to make more money. And I feel like a lot of that push is to keep the stock people happy, because whenever, there's a bad, services aren't good, or you're not finding other revenue streams, because the stock market analysts are like, oh, well, you saturated the market with iPhones. There's no more people in the world for you to sell iPhones to. What are you going to do? And they're like, well, we're going to keep making Macs and selling iPhones. And I was like, all right, your stock has just dropped 20%, which is a crappy place to be in, right? Because on the one hand, you got to try to keep that stock up because a lot of employees are, major share. I mean, maybe not major, but, they're invested in stock. Like a lot of their retirement or their future planning is tied up in Apple stock, right? So you got to think about them as well. So it's a difficult position to be in. Tim is still sticking around, as he will take over as the executive chairman. And as I kind of expected, I think a lot of people expected, he'll still continue to deal with the world leaders and policymakers, which I think could be a good thing. One, Tim already has those relationships from his tenure as CEO, and two, it allows the CEO to focus on the company and not, being at the beck and call of, certain toddlers that they may have to deal with. So it's interesting. I did see their stock tick up a bit. For sure, it's definitely higher than what it was when I told you.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I should have just did it that day when you're like, hey, go look at their stock. And I'm like, yeah, I will. I think the next day it was up by $20.
Yeah, I gotta buy. I have a portion of some Apple.
Yeah.
Share. I don't even have a full share, but I will bump that up. But sometimes you got to move money around. Like, I mean, you did some things in order to have the money freely available to do it. So like, sometimes you got to move money around. And listen, man, if my week has been a week. So, yeah, I'm doing good. If I remember to check in and just take a peek at like, what is the stuff that I'm invested in actually doing? It's like, oh, NVIDIA finally went over $200. Yes. Thank you. Good grief. I should sell it right now. Get out.
I made my whopping $18. Get out now.
Man, listen, where it's been at sometimes in the past couple of months, I'm like, I should get out right now. It's too volatile for me. I can't handle it.
I like a little bit of risk in my investment. So, because
you want to be a little risky, but at the same time, man, you can't be dropping $20 off the share price. Like, what are you doing? You what's going on?
So Todoist, that is something we were going to talk about. So I'm sure there was more, but that was the last thing on my list of things to talk about. I have broken my streak again, and I'm back to 7 days. So 7 days is my current streak right now. And I don't think you're far behind or ahead.
Well, I broke my streak again for the same reason you broke yours, which is I just didn't check off a thing that I did. And I started back, and then the same thing happened again yesterday. So I'm starting back over again.
Okay.
But here's what I can say. Like you said, the streak, having the streak is great. It is motivation to keep it going. Frankly, I kind of don't need the motivation to do things at this point. It is nice to have that streak, but also most times when I open it and realize, oh man, I didn't check off stuff yesterday. The things that I was supposed to do actually got done. I just didn't remember to open the app and check them off. And you came up with an idea that I'm going to implement at some point, which is set up a bedtime routine. So when my bedtime thing kicks in, it'll pop up a thing that says, hey, it should just open Todoist. Like, hey, there's Todoist. You should check, make sure there's nothing that you need to check off. Because like I said, that at that point, if it's 10 o'clock at night, like I'm not about to, like, oh man, I didn't, do such and such, and I'm gonna jump up and run to the office and be like, oh, I gotta grab the laptop and do this. Like, it's either I did it or okay, let's move that to like super important the next day. And I probably also should come up with like set up another morning routine, because I don't have one going right now, that when it pops up, like open up Todoist and show me what is on my list for today. But I honestly don't have Todoist set up like that, like it used to be. Like, it's not as optimized right now in Todoist. There's not a ton of projects in there. I've just been putting stuff in the inbox and then going through and checking it off, because that was the goal, was to start back using it so I can better manage and frankly not lose track of stuff that I'm supposed to do, because I will forget. Like, I forget things a whole lot quicker than I'd like to even admit sometimes.
I have completed a total of 7,425 tasks, which is actually pretty damn good. If you ask me, that's a lot of tasks.
That is a ton. That is a lot of tasks. I think I'm around like 2,300 or something.
I'm at Grandmaster with 15,000 to become enlightened. 15,000 points to go. So, yeah.
What if I feel I'm already enlightened? I don't need a task manager to tell me I'm enlightened.
Well, then don't get enlightened through your task manager.
Yes, enlightening. You have done a lot of work. That's the enlightenment.
So I am working on and I wasn't ready to talk about it a couple of weeks ago, but I'll talk a little bit about it now. But Builder is going to the cloud.
Builder is in the cloud, man. It's already is there. It's in the cloud.
And I invited Damashe to check out some of the features of Builder. And that's one of the cool things about being in the cloud is other people can check it out. But we're using Builder for another similar thing. It's my goal, and I'm doing a training with someone tomorrow, but it's my goal to use this new and improved version of Builder for managing, keeping track of our convention events, because it's a similar experience. It's across several Zoom accounts as well, and there's a lot of moving parts, but this has been a very good experience, and I'm liking where it's going. How much poking around did you do? Just reset your password, or
that was it?
Okay. Yeah, so you didn't look at anything yet?
No, I didn't poke at anything.
Good.
I mean, I also was going to ask you, like, can I? Well, I guess I can see what can I do, but like, am I going to break anything? Like, or are you not yet using it in production?
It's not in production right now, but I think I accidentally. Well, I think I deleted your account, so I'll go back and look because I was dropping users, and I think I dropped all the users out of the database. But the advantage to that is now on the main server, I have a backup solution running on a cron job that automatically backs up the database once a day for me. Anytime I do deployment to the main server, it does a database backup before that deployment. And then all of those database backups using rsync are, thanks to Doug for the recommendation of that tool, are sent over to Dropbox and stored in a Dropbox folder so I can easily manage them. Now, funny part about that is I was setting up rsync and it wasn't working. I couldn't figure out why and realized it was going to my ACB Dropbox account, which I did not intend on happening, but I'm also glad it's going to my ACB Dropbox account, so it's all stuck within ACB. But that's one of the big things that I needed was a backup solution, because now once it gets used in production, it's important to have backups of your data. As much as possible, but not overly.
I mean, is there an over backing up strategy? Like,
yes.
Does that actually exist?
Yes, I could set with cron jobs it to back up every minute, but that's not needed.
I mean, that would be excessive.
Yeah. I think where I'm at right now is pretty tolerable. Every morning it'll back up, and then anytime I run deploy, it will provide the latest commit message at the bottom of the screen and tell me the date and timing UTC that the latest commit is there, and it makes a backup. So I always know where I am with the code, and I am developing on Windows, pushing to a Pi, and then deploying from GitHub if everything looks good on the Pi, because I'm doing testing on Ubuntu on the Raspberry Pi.
That is cool. There is a tool that I should introduce you to, and I would tell you what it is right now, but I actually got to find the name of it. That can do database backups, but it can do kind of incremental backups. And I use that on all my production servers. I don't have as many of those as I once did, but I use those on all my production servers because it gives me an extra peace of mind that, like, okay, if somebody goes in and makes a change, I can kind of, more easily revert from that change.
Yeah.
But I will find the name of that too. What I'm thinking of right now, like the name that I'm thinking of in my head, I know it's not the right one. And I'll send you down a rabbit hole.
That is where we are with Builder. More about that coming soon. Hoping the training goes well tomorrow. I'm sure it will. And yeah.
Good deal, man. Good deal. You have brought Builder to the cloud. Wait, you're doing the training on Sunday?
Yes.
Man, you got to take a day off.
I do. So about that, next week, my audio is going to sound different, I think, because I am going to the hotel with Mallory, because she has to travel for work. And I decided since we're going to travel tomorrow, instead of Monday, I can go down with her and hang out down there while she does work. So my to-go plan is to limit things. I'm going to take both laptops just because that's the type of person I am now, and they're going in that Tankerall bag. But for audio equipment, I'm just taking my headphones and the DJI mics. So my audio will probably sound a little different next time we record.
It's going to sound horrible.
It's not going to sound horrible.
Take your H6.
Take my H6.
Take your H6 and
the Beta 87A.
Yeah.
Well, at that rate, why don't I just take the Vocaster and the Beta 87A?
I mean, the Vocaster's bigger than the
H6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah. Maybe I'll drop that in my bag. I got plenty of room in the bag. It'll give us that. And the mic stand that I'm using too.
Yeah. I was listening to an episode of DTNS, and Rob mentioned that he had found a portable boom arm. Like it folds up in 3 different pieces, and then there's a little clamp that you need to, bring with it, of course. But he's like, it's small enough that it'll fit in the bottom of a backpack. And I was like, I've got to find this.
Yes.
Because he is right, and you are, if you're not thinking about it now, you're going to think about it when you get in the hotel with a mic stand, which maybe you should just take the DJIs and we'll see how those do. But you take a mic stand and you got to figure out where to put it. Otherwise you're hunched over the desk, or you're putting it on top of a book, or you're stacking it on top of the upside down ice bucket or something. You're doing something.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But that has been the thing that I have been chasing. And actually, I'm going to look right now. I got to kind of get on Threads, or I'll probably just send an email to.
Just send an email. Tom will get back.
I'm going to send an email, yeah, because the whole Threads thing, I'm not even sure if that works.
Mention our show when you email Tom.
I
will
Tom, mention it.
My name is Damashe from Technically Working.
Yeah, it's just a little podcast. You probably heard of us. You know who I am. Don't act like you don't.
If you haven't heard of us, you should listen to us. And then tell all your listeners about us.
Yeah. We'll do a DTNS, what is that thing they do at the end of the summer?
Experiment week?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? But is this, we are experimenting, I guess.
Hey, listen, I'm just trying to get more exposure. I didn't, the whole thing is, that would be an experiment for us, is doing something on somebody else's platform. So let's see. So you're traveling next week. Yep. The week after that, my audio is probably going to sound different because I will be recording from the office on May 7th.
Ah, okay. What are you gonna set up an audio setup there, or or are you gonna tear it down, or have you decided yet?
Oh, I'm gonna do the whole audio setup up there. And I'm going to give this room that I'm in now over to storage.
Okay.
Because one, it doesn't make sense to try to maintain 2 different spaces. 2, I'm going to need the desk. 3, we're getting into the hotter part of the year. Right now, I'm burning the hell up out here. So office, we'll have air conditioning everywhere.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, man. So I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
And also make that the working space. Now, obviously, there will be times where I'll, have the laptop at home and be doing work at the house. But eventually, the long-term plan for up there is to put up some decent soundproof material, because there's an actual office with a door like that, go in and close. So that's separate from the warehouse space. So put some soundproofing material up there. Take the audio setup up there, and that's where I'll be when I have to record, unless somebody calls me at a random weird time and it's like, hey, can you just hop into this thing for us, because we had a person coming on but they couldn't make it. and then you might get me in the kitchen, in the dining room.
Dining room, yeah.
But for Technically Working, because we're recording on Thursdays most of the time, what I'm going to do is Thursday will be I've already shifted my schedule around, so I won't be doing my prison runs on Thursdays anymore. I'll be doing those earlier in the week. because that would kill me some Thursdays. And I text Mike when I got home at 6 o'clock. I'm like, man, listen, I can't do it. So one thing there, moving that day around. Two, because I'll be getting off at some point in the afternoon, I will do one of two things. More likely because that's going to be my university day. I'll get back in, probably touch a few things right here in Tuscaloosa, like, check one of my post offices that I can pass by on the way back into the office on that Thursday. Go there, sit down, do whatever kind of little paperwork or whatever I need, handle whatever product stuff needs doing, whether it's, packing up for the next day or whatnot, and just hang out at the office until it's time to record the show, and then hop in an Uber or Lyft, whichever one happens to be cheaper, and go home.
You guys
that's
need
the plan
Waymo
as it
there.
stands right now, huh?
So you need Waymo there.
Yeah, but
what are your thoughts on Waymo? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
So I think the tech is cool. I have concerns. Somebody asked me this, funnily enough. I did the NFB state convention this past weekend as we're recording, so it would have been last week, and I had to do a tech talk. I'm talking about technology for an hour. And when I tell people, like, I have no idea what I was going to say. And I know that there are people in the NFB that actually listen to my show, but I did not go in there knowing what I was going to say. I didn't show up that Friday in Montgomery knowing what I was going to say Saturday. There was no speech. There was nothing written down. Nothing.
Yeah.
I think I decided about an hour before I was supposed to go in. I'm like, hey, I'm going to use a feature that's now out now, so I can tell people about this. So what I did is I used Ira through the Meta glasses to guide me to the room that I was supposed to be in, because it's a breakout room.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in there and I was like, I'm going to open up by telling people what I just did. Their microphone was a little off, and where they had the speaker for people to hear you was like kind of firing into my left ear. It was very uncomfortable, and I wish I'd had more time to prep the room. So if I do this again, one thing I'm going to do is go in and check the room that I'm supposed to do this in. Prior to me getting there. There was in the previous session that was also in that same room ran way over. So I didn't have, it went from, we got to get these people out to now here goes the guy doing my introduction. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Anyhow, I get the IRA agent, walks me up to the podium, and I end my call with her. And then I just make the comment, like, I started it out by saying, so tell you guys something I did, and you can do this. But what I did is I used Ira. I just said I used Ira. I didn't say I used the Meta glasses to do blah, 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 blah. Because that feature, actually I did say that. I just kind of made it sound like, I probably did what they could do at that particular point in time, which is WhatsApp. And it's like, so I used Ira in the Oakleys to navigate to this room and get up here to the front. I said it's a little laggy. So she didn't prevent me from bumping into the guy at the podium, because by the time she was able to see exactly, because I probably was moving a little too fast too. I wasn't slow walk, because I'm not a slow walker. So anyway, I'll just start with that, and then we just kind of have a general conversation. I talk about tech. I talk about a few other things. But then I opened it up for questions, because I wanted it to be more of an interactive thing, because I really didn't have anything specific to talk about. There wasn't a table. Had I brought demo stuff for me to lay stuff out for people to touch, it's like, 50 people crammed into a room. That probably is about the size of a normal hotel room, minus any of the accoutrements that would be in a hotel room.
Right.
So it's very tight in there. But all of that being said, somebody asked me about driverless cars. And I said, me 10 years ago, I was all about it. I said, matter of fact, if we go back to, I think it was 2011 or so, when Mark Riccobono, who is now the president of the NFB National, did that blind driving challenge thing at the University of, where was that at? Virginia Tech, I think. I was like, back then, driverless cars, having a car that could drive me somewhere, like, back then, 10 years ago, even, I was all about this. It's like, yeah, give me a car that all I got to do is get in and tell it where I'm going. Like, as soon as they release these, I am buying one. I'll go take out a car loan. I'm going to get me a car.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I said, you fast forward to now, and let's go back to what I said earlier in the speech, which is what do you do when the tech doesn't work? Right. And now I have more concerns about that than I did 10 years ago. Because I'm 10 years older, I'm 10 years wiser, and I have seen things break and I know how things can break. So I get a little more concerned about a car being able to move me around the way that I want to move around. Like that becomes a little more problematic. I think for where Waymos and other driverless, well, let's stick with Waymo because I got thoughts that we probably shouldn't even get into about some other companies' supposed driverless vehicles autonomously moving people. But what Waymo is doing, I feel that their approach is done very well because it's kind of restricted to certain areas. They map those areas, and they're getting a chance to work out the kinks. And frankly, they've not had as many accidents or whatnot as you would think they will have. But as I pointed out to my so they actually have a room full of people. It's amazing.
Did you mention technically working?
I did actually mention the show. It's on.
Well, hello, new listeners. Guarantee we got one new listener.
Don't remember what I said about the show, but I did mention my show. Because I do the show. So, got to tell people about that. But I mentioned them a few months back where there was a power outage in San Francisco. And it took down a whole bunch of cell towers. And then all these cars, Waymos, are just stuck sitting in the road because they didn't have the data connection to be able to source and figure stuff out. And I was like, so those sorts of things have shown me, as well as just my experience with technology over the years, that I think at some point we can get there. I think it's possible. I absolutely believe it's possible that one day I can own a car and, be able to go out, get in that car and tell it where I'm going and get there in relative comfort and safety and not have to worry about anybody. But there's a lot of problems that have to be solved in between that time. Like right now, we're nowhere near solving some of those issues. There's technical issues, and then there's social issues to be solved, right? Because on the social, what I put in that social category is like insurance. Who's at fault if the car hits somebody, right? Or rear end somebody? Like who's at fault? Am I at fault, the blind guy that can't do anything about what the car is doing? Or is it the company who wrote the software? Who obviously they're not going to want to be held liable for their software making a mistake and rear into somebody, right? Or are we going to get to a point where the technology is good enough that it could be expected, not necessarily be right all the time, but it would be more of you got to prove that the car did this instead of the person, the individual driving the other vehicle was not at fault, right? It's more assumed that they're at fault because we all know human drivers are sometimes terrible. And they do things that a computer logically would not do. Like there's no logic that says you should try to squeeze into that little, space right there and cut this car off. Like you shouldn't do that. You absolutely shouldn't do it. Right. But people will do this all the time. So, where do we get to with that aspect of it? And then, the technical issues are like literally these cars could get stuck. Like, what do we do if there's another power outage? Or, I didn't say this out loud in the thing, but I've said it here before too. What if somebody's mucking around with the we're at war or we're having conflicts with a country that has the ability or has already hacked us and now they're mucking around with our stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like what happens? So there's a lot of things to solve. I'm less I don't want to say enthusiastic. I'm less, what's the word? My expectations of seeing this as soon as I thought we would have 5 to 7 years ago I'm definitely down on that.
Interesting. Now, my thoughts are, what if we, with the speed that things are developing and coming together using artificial intelligence, I wonder if some of these challenges could be expedited that we're running into, because they're valid concerns and challenges. Like, especially if, the insurance thing, I'm thinking that yes, the computer could determine that the human was at fault in that scenario. But what happens when more cars are driverless than human driven,
there should be less accidents because there should be the ability to be all a part of a mesh.
But then who's liable for when there is accidents? Is it the computer driving your car or the computer driving my car?
Or, I mean, how are you going to hold? What are you going to do to the computer if it is at fault? Like, are you going to, degauss it or something?
Bad
like,
computer. I'm going to reboot you.
You're out of here, man. We're erasing your hard drive.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a question. Another thing that I feel like needs to be solved and is why I have sometimes pushed back on the whole LLM thing, right? I don't think LLMs are bad in general, but I feel like more resources are being thrown at LLMs when there's going to be a limit to what they're capable of doing, simply because unless we're going to turn the whole globe into a giant data center, we're going to hit some limits here.
That's why we're going to the moon.
And shoving them into space is kind of a dumb idea, in my opinion. I think we're asking for trouble, and there's long-term consequences there that people are not considering. But everybody's so hyped up about it that they're just running with the LLMs, and there's not, I think, definitely not the resources, and I don't think even the time or the mental effort to investigate other types of models. Because one thing that we're going to need is, like, we can't have Waymo controlling the entire, system. We don't want Tesla doing it. Like, no. But then there are things that the cars are going to have to, the computer driving the car will have to understand before me or you can just hop in a car and go somewhere. Like, I feel like, I mean, Waymo's, they're in a pretty well mapped area.
Yeah.
And again, there are humans that it can reach out to if it really gets itself in a pickle, right? Well, if everybody can afford a car or be able to rent a car for a day that can drive them everywhere, like, who are the people in the data center somewhere that can remote control that car if it gets jammed up? Like, we gotta have different types of models for the computers to be able to understand what they're saying. There needs to be more on board compute as opposed to depending on network connectivity. Like, I think that is and it's why I've, again, pushed on even with the LLMs for local models, like, get these things down to where they're expert in an area or their expertise covers a particular domain, and be able to shrink this stuff down so that we're not trying to burn the world up with data centers. Part of that problem too is that, more data centers is more energy, is more coal, more blah, 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 because we have demonstrated our inability to put focus on renewable energy, which is another thing that we need. But I think for cars, like, we really do need to have onboard technology running that. It does not need to depend on the cell network. I mean, we've had so many outages with AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile over the years. You're like, I don't want my ability to move about to be dependent on a, frankly, profit-driven enterprise that doesn't care as much about their customers as they care about how much they can extract from their customers. And that's what all three of those companies have shown themselves to be. Otherwise, we will have much better coverage in rural areas. I wouldn't be running a phone with two different SIMs from two different companies, so I can have coverage wherever my van happens to be in Alabama running my route, right? These things wouldn't be necessary. There would be fiber everywhere because people would actually spend the money that they've been given from taxpayers to run that fiber instead of coming up with weird, ridiculous excuses as to why they can't run fiber to this area because, the FCC allowed them to slide around a requirement, right? Like, I don't think any of those things are good. So, one, the car has to have most of its compute in the car, which means we need more chip technology. We need better things along those lines. Absolutely, it should be an electric vehicle. Definitely should not be a gas vehicle. No more gas. I don't think people should be making new gas vehicles. But I do think that some of these problems could be solved. My concern, more so than whether the technological issues can be solved, is whether people are going to actually try to solve them in a meaningful way. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean people in general. I mean the companies that actually have the ability to try to move this forward are they going to be trying to solve these problems in a meaningful way that has an impact on us down the line? Or is it going to be, hey, we got self-driving cars and they could do blah, 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 until somebody, you know, I don't know, runs into a cell tower and
which then takes down all the cars in that local region, and then
and now everybody's just sitting in the middle of the road looking crazy.
That being said,
what you could do is jump out with your Bluetooth speaker and start a party, I guess.
Yes, you could go get a blast from AT guys.
Man, get a lava. That lava speaker's nice.
Is it? Okay. Huh? Better than the blast, or?
I wouldn't say better, but I think better for travel than the blast for sure.
Gotcha.
So, and what it looks like, it kind of looks like, so it's actually shaped more like the small speaker. But it's about, I would say, half the size of the blast. Maybe a little bit less than half the size.
Does it have line in?
Yeah, it has line in.
Okay.
USB-C charging.
I do not need to go buy something from AT guys.
But it has that more rounded shape to it, like the small speaker does.
Yeah.
So like you could stand it up on its side and not feel stupid about doing such a thing.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I actually like it, man. It's got nice. It's got two different straps that come with it. One is a longer carrying strap too. It's like I can carry a crossbody. I'm like, you look weird. But then there's like a little rope handle that just gives you like just enough to be able to grab it and take it with you. It's super nice speaker.
So that being,
I just saw one for the first time.
Okay. All of that being said, on May 20th, I'm flying into San Francisco. So if you're in San Francisco, or if you're going to the GitHub hackathon, let's connect. And I am planning on taking a Waymo just for the experience.
You should. Absolutely. Yeah. I would do it too. Like I'm not saying I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I just feel slightly. I guess I've become more grown up with the idea of like, there's definitely problems that we got to solve.
There are considerations that that appearances are made have not been actually considered. And I'm just saying, NVDA, you better be on that chip thing. Just
man, see, now wouldn't that be the worst? Like, and I kind of feel like that's kind of where we're getting at too with a lot of stuff is like, oh, everybody's trying to make driverless cars. But there still seems to be the expectation as of now. I think people really want to get there. But again, I think people really want to get there to where, hey, you just get in the car. The car doesn't even need a steering wheel. Like, famously, that's what Johnny I was trying to design for Apple's car was no steering wheel.
Yep.
It's like, Johnny, listen, man, I know Apple makes great software, but y'all ain't been necessarily killing it on the software side right now. I'm not buying the Apple car. I'm telling you.
Do you remember the iOS 15 when you couldn't make phone calls? I think it was 15.
Do you remember iOS 13?
13,
Let's take you back to iOS 13. Do you remember this? Like, no, I don't think we're there, Johnny, where you can just take the steering wheel out of the car. I think ultimately that is, where people really want to get to. But short term, for sure, it still seems to be a lot of this car can like purchasable vehicles that you can go buy that have self-driving features nowadays. It is in limited conditions, and you still have to be aware. You can't just hop in the back seat. Mallory can't put, her 2026, I don't know, Chevy Equinox on the highway and then get in the back seat and take a nap. Like that's not a thing that you're supposed to do.
Right.
Because people have actually done such nonsense, but you're not supposed to, right? So I still think we're a ways away, but I'm absolutely, like, I'm still excited about it. It's still a good idea. I have said, I think on the show, like, listen, I get a van, that can just drive where I need to go. Like, then the next problem would be, well, can I get a robot that can go load the stacks? And then I ain't got to do nothing. But then I'll be putting people out of work, and I would kind of feel bad about that. I should feel bad about that. But hey, man, listen, you should see my tax bill.
But maybe their next type of work is sitting in a contact center with a computer that can help the
with a
driverless
joystick
cars.
so they can remote control the car.
Yep. Maybe work as we know it just changes.
I do think that is going to be a thing. Like that work is going to change because work always changes, right? There's always new jobs. I mean, we get. One technology that wipes out certain jobs or reduces the need for certain types of jobs or reduces the number of people. but at the same time, there's new opportunities that arise because the world doesn't stop moving just because we solved a problem. Like there's always more problems to solve. And perhaps if there's less of the manual data compilation that a lot of people are having to do now, they can turn their attention to solving some of the bigger social problems. Retrain yourself. Okay, you were an accountant. Most people don't really need an accountant now. I'm just picking on accounts. I don't necessarily think that's true, but let's just say that, right? Or you're an accountant. We don't need nearly as many accountants as we once did. Well, okay, you understand analytical things. You have to be somewhat analytical to be an accountant. You're used to looking at details. Perhaps now you could go help resolve issues around renewable energy or dealing with poverty and food shortages, come up with better planting strategies for farmers. There's plenty of other things that you could go as things that you could go do that I can think of right now that we have not, that and that's just things I can think of today, let alone the things that will exist that I have not thought about because I can't think about them because they don't exist.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I look forward to your journey in the Waymo. You should record it if you can.
Oh, I plan to.
If you're not too bogged down with other stuff.
I'll figure it out. We'll get it. Even if that means I just record 1 minute or 3 minute clips with the Ray-Bans.
I am probably also going to, because I think they're are they in Austin? Or
yes.
Is that the other? Okay, yeah. So I will probably try to take one while I'm in Austin this summer as well. Just for the experience, because you got to do it. It's kind of like if you go to Vegas, you got to see the Blue Man Group, right? That's a thing. Mike's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Leaving that one alone. So on that note, I have one more announcement, and then I don't know if you're ready to wrap it up, but I'm guessing you're pretty darn hot in there. So my last announcement is if you want to come on to a call that I am hosting Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I am going to be sitting down with Taylor Arndt for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, to talk about Perspective AI. Nope, that's not the name of it. Perspective Intelligence. And we're going to talk about on-device AI, why people need or should be interested in this, and what their app is doing and what's coming up in the future. So if you want to check that out, you can listen on ACB Media 5 at 7 p.m. on Thursday, or send an email to community@acb.org, and we'll get you the Zoom details so you can join in live and participate in Zoom. So that's what I have exciting coming up this week.
All right. Is this also going to be a podcast?
Yeah, it'll be podcasted and shared on ACB Media, and we'll announce when it's live on the show if you can't make it live.
Good deal. All right, because I'm all about the podcast. Got to keep podcasting alive, man. They're trying to kill it.
I might just grab the podcast and drop it in the technically working feed, too.
Yeah, you probably should check with somebody before you do that.
So,
yeah, you should probably just check.
Yeah,
listen, man, we ain't made enough money to be getting sued by people. Like, hey,
I don't think we'll get sued by Taylor.
So this is just so it's not because it is community.
No,
so
it's on not community. So it's me and Taylor.
Okay, gotcha. It's not an ACB.
No.
Thing. All right, cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. Good times, and I'm interested to hear her opinions on on-device intelligence and some of the cool things they're working on. I know one thing, and I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know if I can talk about. I mean, I could because I haven't signed an NDA, but they're working on some interesting navigation options for indoor things. So. Yeah,
that's the local AI is going to be interesting. And I got to try out Google's model, but it's a little too big to run on anything I have right now. But I will be getting a new computer soon.
There you go.
Soon. Oh man, did you see the framework?
Yeah.
Framework? Man. So let me ask you, did you want to get one?
No.
You didn't want to get one at all?
No.
You so did? I kind of want, more or less because I just kind of want to put my hands on one.
Nah,
And like see how it comes apart and how you're able to swap the pieces and do all that. But like I didn't go look at it or like price it or anything because I'm like
15 is what they start
I
at.
ain't
So
buying it
yeah, yeah.
because I don't need it.
Oh, I bought something new too. That should be here later this week. It's a POC, which is push to talk over cellular. And you remember Nextel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of so you don't have to be a ham radio operator to purchase these. I don't think. No, you don't because they're selling them generally. But it uses a smart SIM card, and it will switch between AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon depending on which one's more powerful in your local area. And it has 4 buttons on the front face, 3 buttons on the left side. The big button is the push to talk button. And let's say I wanted to reach out to Damashe, I would navigate to Damashe. I could add him to a group, and then I can push the push to talk button. It does not make the chirp sound. That's the one disappointment I have. It makes a beep sound when you push the push to talk.
I'm pretty sure Sprint owns the license to that sound now.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Use that.
But and then it lets you instantly connect to them, and I mean price wise, it talks, which is awesome. It's $99 for the unit, and then you can pay for a year of cellular, which is $20, 2 years of cellular, which is $35, or 3 years of cellular for $49.
I should buy one of these.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. You should. They are very intriguing. What's really cool about it is the guy who wanted to get these accessible reached out to one of the manufacturers and said, hey, this would be pretty cool if we could make it accessible. 3 weeks later, the guy says, hey, I have something for you to check out.
This is why you should email people when you have problems, because sometimes things happen.
Yes. So that right there, I don't know how much I'm going to use this. I have some ideas for things I want to do with it. But that right there, that support is one of the reasons why I'm like, yeah, I will go pick one up.
I'm going to go pick one up because I can think about a scenario before and that leads me to, don't let me forget to ask you my ham question, but there could be scenarios where this could be super useful in crisis/emergency situations. And it also occurs to me like, hey, this could be a cheaper option than giving everybody a damn iPhone that works for me. I could check in and be like, where the hell are you at?
Yep. Just leave one.
Why
on the
is my van even on that side of town? I ain't got no machines over there.
Yeah.
The hell you think?
What are you doing? Talk to me. I'm thinking comms for conventions and stuff though too.
Yeah, I thought about that when you were first talking about it too. Like that could be a solution to that as well, because everything it seems less technical than some of the things that I have thought about, which I still think Sonobus is a good solution. I haven't tested it in a while, but because everybody already has a phone, just put the Sonobus app on their phone and then you got a thing. But accessibility is also a problem. Yeah, I will get one of these and tinker with it. Oh, I was supposed to have been looking up a travel boom arm. So you said you don't have to be a
licensed ham.
Licensed ham to buy this. So are there things that you can't buy unless you are a licensed ham?
No, I don't think you. I don't think so. Now you can buy, like, you can go to Amazon and buy some radios, and like I'll give you some suggestions for radios if you want to experiment with those. Of course, you just can't broadcast with them. You can listen all day long. And I think there are some devices that people won't sell you unless you're a licensed ham.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like it there. So I can buy a normal typical kind of radio, but I can't broadcast because I'm not licensed.
Yep, there's no prevention from listening.
And then there's probably gear that people won't sell you because you shouldn't have it unless you're a licensed ham anyway. All right. So, all right, people, go get your ham licenses because, listen, when they bring down the cell network in the great conflict of 2027, we're all going to need a way. You're going to need a way to listen to the show. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because we will broadcast the show on the ham network.
And we'll just interrupt every 10 minutes to give our call signs.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The Lucid Budget Radio.
Yep. $99.
I will buy this. I wonder if it accepts any SIM card or if you got to use theirs.
I think you got to use theirs, but you're not going to get a data SIM card for $20 a year.
I mean, depends on how much data you want on that SIM card. Yeah,
True.
Good. Speaking of SIM cards, I just discovered so I bought a router to go on the van because I need Wi-Fi on the van. I don't want to kill my battery on my phone tethering. And plus, the summer should be interesting because I'm planning to really start sending people out more without me in the van anyway. But we need network connectivity for things. One, if they're using their maps, like I don't want them, they're using maps or something. I don't want people to be killing their data for work because I have not issued people iPhones. Or phones, and I'm not even sure if that's the thing that I want to do. There's a plan for that, but I'm not sure if I want to follow through with that yet or not. So anyway, this router's on here. It has dual SIM. So I have a Verizon SIM and I have an AT&T SIM from US Mobile. I do not have accounts with both of those individual companies. And that way I got failover and all of that. But this is the GL-I.net 3000. Yeah, these names, man. 3000 something or another. I'll post it on Mastodon. But anyway, one thing I discovered when looking at this is I saw that they had their own SIM cards, and it's a smart eSIM card, right? So what it does is you're able to get a SIM card and upload it. Like you basically have to just grab the QR code that you would scan for your eSIM, upload it to the router interface, and you can apply it to that SIM card. And they can store up to 8 different SIM profiles on their physical SIM card. But now you have an eSIM. So I used one of those. I bought 2. I used one to put my AT&T service on. I just already had a physical Verizon SIM card that I took out of a blind shell and put in there for the other SIM. And then I got eSIM on the blind shell because the SIM card Now, here's the thing. I used Lightspeed, which is their T-Mobile service in US Mobile. The blind shell, just for people listening, going back to the whole thing for a sec, it really wants to be a T-Mobile phone. Like I stuck that SIM and I didn't have to do anything. Like it popped up as soon as I turned it back on with, 100% data connection, 4G, carrier was T-Mobile. I was like, man, it don't never work that smooth. There are some other ways to there's a Windows app you could use to also upload your profile to this eSIM, physical SIM. But I thought it was an interesting idea and an interesting way to get around a device that could not, for obvious reasons, scan a QR code for an eSIM, being able to still use eSIMs. So pretty cool. That is the boom arm that I have, and that is not a travel boom arm. I'm telling you that I do not want to travel with the road.
All right, just shared the radio on Mastodon. So if you follow me on Mastodon or go find my Mastodon, or maybe the bot will feel like reposting it. Maybe.
Man, we'll get to the bot. We'll get to the bot, man. The bot is coming back. Stuff is coming online. I've just been super busy trying to get insurance that I didn't have and all this stuff for this building. Did I announce last week that I found a bill? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving in next weekend.
Yay. That'll be exciting.
I gotta go buy a bunch of stuff. So, like a broom and a mop and a dustpan and a mop bucket. And spend some ridiculous amount of money on a door access solution with Ubiquity. And pay somebody to install it because I don't think I want to screw around with low voltage electricity. That doesn't seem like a smart idea.
Yeah. Pick your battles.
But it's going to be fun. I don't have to do everything at one time. Unfortunately, scheduling for me to a certain extent is going to work out over the summer because university will be closing and the prison will be shut down as they do a transition. So it'll give me a little bit more time where I'm not scrambling as much to really get things optimized and efficient, which we'll talk more about on the show as that is going on. Listen, here's some things that I need. So if people have ideas that are listening, they're all gratefully received. I need a door access solution. I'm more likely going to go with Ubiquiti, but I am open to somebody having a different idea. One requirement for me is that it cannot depend strictly on the internet for it to work. I realize remote unlocking is a thing that needs the internet, obviously, but if I just go up to my door and the internet's down, I still need to be able to get in. Security system, because I haven't made any decisions about that. I'm not sure I want to go down that whole pathway of spending all that Ubiquiti money to buy their stuff. So I'm open to options for that. That's all I can think of right at the moment. But I'll chime in as I discover things, because I'm sure I'm going to get up there and be like, oh, I didn't think about solving that problem. And we'll do that. Sound panel recommendations, if you have those, because I'm going to put those up in the office. So I will go back to sounding really amazing instead of, just generally okay, which is how I feel. And if you have those suggestions, you can send us an email. You can also email us at Tell Mike Happy Birthday. Since he gets the emails now, I don't have
now that I
related
finally
messages
get those emails.
Feedback at technicallyworking.show. And if you're new, I'm saying this for the new people. It ends at .show. There's nothing that comes after that. The .show is the end of the thing. So feedback at technicallyworking.show. You can go to technicallyworking.show and click on the support us link if you want to know more about the tip jar and how that works and what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. We want to thank all of our tip jar supporters once again. We truly appreciate you. And you can make one-time donations for people, not just, you don't have to do a subscription. You can do a one-time tip. We listen, we're just like you. We're out here shopping in some of the same places you're shopping at. We see what they're doing. It ain't nice. Mastodon, we're there. He's Payon, Payown at dragonscave.space. I am Damashe, Damashe at technically.social. And the bot that we mentioned that has really been slacking, man. I got to have a chat with his bot. TW at technically.social. And you can also use the hashtag technically working, and we truly appreciate it if you capitalize the T and the W. It makes NVDA read it correctly.
Yes. Man, I was just looking through some of the old emails we have, like from 2024. Appreciate long-time listeners. Some of them I know are still listening. So, and Google Updater, why do you always want...
Yeah, see, I neuter all of it. I just turn it all off. You ain't got access to nothing. If I want to update
How do I turn
Chrome,
this off?
You go into settings, privacy, and I forget what permissions it has, but you stop it from launching automatically.
Okay, I'm going to figure this out because I am tired of getting this message. Google Updater is an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? This file was downloaded on an unknown date. Apple checked it for malicious software, and none was detected. Cancel or open? Cancel.
Yeah. Google puts way too many demons on your system. It's annoying. I hate it. I hate when people just, software companies feel they need to try to put all their hooks all through your system so they can do stuff. I know how to update software. I run top grade and everything gets updated. Don't need your help, man. That is going to wrap it up for this week. We appreciate everybody listening. This has been Technically Working episode number
160. That's what we were forgetting to do. Well, that's what I forgot to do, was give the episode number. So.
Oh, well, I mean, we had to. Yeah. We were getting there. That's why we edit.
Do we, though?